crochet friends, it's me, Jonah, and let's thank Yarnspirations for sponsoring today's show and tell. I just finished this amazing crochet winter trellis hat, and it was so fun. There's so many different stitches and so much texture, and it's a really fun and engaging hat to crochet. And you start off with a nice chunk of ribbon up here for the crown of your hat, and then more of an elegant Celtic pattern, and then you have some front post puff stitches, which I'm going to show you how to do later because I didn't know how to do them at first, but they were awesome to learn. And then of course you have some ribbing and a nice edging of reverse single crochet, and the yarn it uses is Red Heart Soft, but other great yarns to use would be Red Heart with Love, which is what I used, and I used the color Celtic. And another great substitution would be Karen's Simply Soft. But really, any worsted weight yarn that's just a smooth worsted weight works great. But another tip is, whenever you're doing delicate and intricate stitch work, like in the winter trellis hat, that you use a solid yarn. Because when you use a variegated yarn, that can make the stitching disappear because of the yarn and the variegation, you can't see your stitching as well. And then the only other supplies you'll need are your 6mm crochet hook, and you'll also need a 6.5 and a 5.5mm crochet hook, or whatever sizes you need to obtain the gauges in the pattern, a pair of scissors, and if you'd like the written pattern, which I will make sure to have linked down below. And today I'm going to show you how to do some of the ribbing techniques and how to do your front post decrease and of course that front post puff stitch, because it's a really cool stitch to learn. So let's get into it. Okay, so for starters, I wanted to give you a brief overview of the winter trellis hat. Oh, and by the way, the reason I have a band-aid is because I injured my finger because now I'm in a cooking class at school. But I can still crochet, so no worries. But here's the winter trellis hat, and as you can see, you started at the top here with ribbing, classic ribbing, front post double crochet and single crochet, so that way it's a flat, solid stitch. And then you go down to some single crochet gapping here with some treble crochet to together front posts and some decreases right here to bring it down into these different sections. And then they come down and branch out into more ribbing, of course for your cuff or the brim of your hat. But the real cool part is the texture on this front post. If I turn it, you can see just how textured they are. So now if I set this hat aside and pull out my first swatch here, and zoom in a little bit, you can see here's the back side, where I have 3 stitches left to work of this round, just single crochet. So I'll work those now. But when I flip it, you can see all of this gorgeous texture. And normally you would think when you're working ribbing that you're going to work it through the back post too. But the way that this ribbing is worked is it's worked 2 rows below. And if you turn it to the side, you can see you have the single crochets in between right here. So your first step is to chain 1, single crochet in the first stitch, and then you're going to yarn over twice, going from right to left, going around the throat of that stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and finish as normal for a treble crochet by pulling through 2 3 times. And then you're going to skip the single crochet directly behind that treble crochet because it's already worked over it. Single crochet in the next stitch, yarn over twice, and work another front post treble crochet around the post below. Okay, and then once you've done that, you're going to hop and single crochet right into your next stitch. then yarn over twice, and then work another front post treble crochet, and then you're going to single crochet into the next stitch. And that's the texture that it creates by working your front post stitches. And now I wanted to show you on this little swatch I had started here how to decrease your stitching. So in the pattern it'll say you have to decrease it with a front post double crochet, and it tells you to hold the two together and work around it as if it's one. So you yarn over, insert your hook, and then pinch the two next posts together, and then going around them as if they're one. Front post double crochet by pulling back through tightly, and then finish it as a normal double crochet. And now you've just taken two posts and branched them into one spot. And that is how it works. And then you'll single crochet in your next stitches, and you can proceed as normal. So if I set this aside, take my scissors and fasten it off, and bring in my next swatch here to show you, this is your textured puff stitch. You can see just how much it pops out, perfect from the side view. And this is worked over single crochet. So now if I join my yarn in right here, so I can proceed with this puff stitch pattern, I can chain one, and then of course continue along. And I'm just single crocheting right now, simply just to get to the other side to show you that it is worked over a base of single crochet. And now, once I finish this, we'll start to do the actual puff stitching, which can be a little finicky, but after you get the hang of it, it's really fun. Okay, here we go. Now you get to chain one, and for your first 3 stitches, just work a single crochet. And then now, to work your front post puff stitch, you're going to yarn over, insert around the post of the stitch 2 rows below, so 1, 2, and then yarn over and pull up a tall loop, yarn over, insert into the same post, pull up a tall loop, you have 5 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert, pull up a tall loop, you have 7, yarn over, insert, pull up a tall loop, you have 9, and now you're going to yarn over and pull through all 9, and then very tightly chain 1, and then skip the single crochet directly behind the puff stitch, and then go and just work your next single crochets. And that is how you work the front post puff stitch. I'll show you again 2 more times. Yarn over, going around the post 2 rows below, pull up a tall loop, and repeat 3 more times. 1, 2, 3. Yarn over, pull through all 9, chain 1 tightly to secure, and then you can proceed to working 3 more single crochets. Yarn over, insert around the post of the puff stitch, pull up a tall loop, yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert, pull up a loop for 9, pull through, and chain 1 tightly to secure, and then work your last 3 stitches. And now if I turn my work and chain 1, and single crochet back across this row, you'll notice I have my puff stitch and my chain 1. The chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch, so you'll just skip right over it and work under the 2 loops created by the puff stitch. Like so. And once I get to the end of the row, I can flip it over and show you what you've established. There it is. That is what you've established. That's how you work your front post stitches when it comes to the bobble. And the one last thing I wanted to show you, in case you don't know how, is to work your reverse single crochet edging. It's very simple. You're working from left to right. You just insert into your first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then going backwards, insert it into that stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, going back through, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, insert, pull up, pull through 2, insert, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2 again, and you would just continue that across. And there you have it, your winter trellis hat. It's everything you really would like it to be because it has all the texture. It has a nice stretch to it. It's very good for fitting lots of different sizes because ribbing is very stretchy. It's a nice dense weave, and it has elegance because of these added cables right here that come together with the Celticness. And I absolutely love the front post puff stitch and how it looks encased around the single crochet. And I really did hope that you try this hat. And remember, use a solid yarn because it helps really show the work you've put in with these gorgeous stitches. I hope you enjoyed this show and tell on the amazing winter trellis hat that uses Caron Simply Soft, Red Heart Soft, Red Heart with Love, any worsted weight yarn that you have at home. And once again, I'll have the written pattern linked below. But if you did enjoy this show and tell, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Jonah's Hands and Yarn Inspirations. And thank you so much, and have a wonderful day. And of course, as usual, crochet away, friends!